Another very interesting and really good question from my subscriber. Thank you for this question. It's really very good and very interesting question for me, and I'll do my best to explain to you this issue, this question, with great pleasure. First of all, you should know, I'm Belarusian, I'm from Belarus, and in Belarus we have two official languages, two native languages, Belarusian and Russian. Therefore, we can speak Belarusian and Russian languages, but mostly people from Belarus prefer to speak Russian language, not Belarusian. Yes, it's so sad that we are Belarusian, I'm Belarusian, and we prefer to speak Russian, to speak Russian, not Belarusian. Of course, there are people from Belarus who speak only Belarusian language, like for example my grandmother. I mean, more older generation, very older generation in my country prefer and accustomed to speak Belarusian, because these people very old, like for example my grandmother. My grandmother lives in a village in small town, and she speaks exactly Belarusian language. Of course, sometimes she uses in her speech and Russian words, Russian phrases, Russian expressions, but with Belarusian accent, and it sounds funny and unusual for example, real people from Russia, for example. And I repeat one more time that only older generation prefer to speak Belarusian language, not Russian language. Of course, there are people, I mean, older generation who also speak only in Russian language, but mostly, very older generation from my country speak Belarusian language. Or for example, my cousin, yes, he with his family speak Belarusian language and sometimes use different Russian words, phrases and expressions with Belarusian accent, and it sounds unusual a little bit. And when I talk about it, I want to tell you that in Belarus we have language number 3, not official language, and this language we call like тросянка. Probably, maybe I will explain to you this language in my next video. What I mean, тросянка is the language in Belarus when we, people from Belarus, mix two languages, Belarusian and Russian. What I mean, in our speech we use like Belarusian language, Belarusian phrases, words, expressions, sentences, accent, with different Russian words, phrases, expressions. And when we mix two these languages, it sounds really sometimes unusual and funny. Therefore, real Russian people, I mean people from Russia, when those people from Russia hear this speech, I mean this тросянка, this speech from Belarusian people, Russian people immediately say, oh yes, this is person from Belarus, yes, I hear that this is person from Belarus, yes, because we have accent Belarusian, but we speak Russian, understand, with the Russian phrases, words, and the same time use Belarusian words, Belarusian phrases, understand? Oh my god. How much people from Belarus speak exactly in Belarusian language? I don't know how much, because I never count these people, but I see, I know, I feel that very few people in my country speak Belarusian language. And of course, when I visit different city in my country, I almost never hear like people in another city speak Belarusian. Almost never, yes. But when we, for example, visit different village in my country, we can come across with exactly Belarusian speech. And this Belarusian speech you can hear from older generation. And in big city, like for example, capital of my country, Minsk, we you can hear only Russian language, only Russian speech. Sometimes, of course, you can hear in Belarusian language, but more seldom. Younger generation, for example, like me, we prefer to speak Russian language, exactly Russian language. Okay, next question, and this question sounds like, can 100% people in Belarus speak and understand Russian? Of course, of course. People from, I repeat one more time that in Belarus we have two official languages like Belarusian and Russian. Therefore, we can understand Russian language, we can speak Russian. It's no problem. It isn't problem to speak Russian and to understand Russian language, because this is our official and native language in my country. Okay, next question. This question sounds like this: Russian language taught as a compulsory subject in schools. I hope you understand me. I will answer this question. Yes, of course, I repeat one more time that we have two native languages, Belarusian and Russian, and teachers in my country teach two languages, Russian and Belarusian, at school. As for me, for example, my mother is a teacher of Belarusian language, yes, and when I studied in my school, in my village, I'm also studied and Russian language and Belarusian language. I can tell you one story from my life that people from my country, like me, for example, when we finished school, we try to enter in university, like in your country, like in our world, yes? If you wanna enter to university, you should pass exams. And in Belarus, if you wanna enter in university, you should pass exams or in Belarusian language or Russian language, understand? I mean subject, like subject at school, yes? Belarusian language or Russian language. As for me, when I entered in university, I passed exam in Belarusian language, understand? Because I repeat one more time that my mother is a teacher of Belarusian language, therefore it wasn't problem for me, because my mother teach Belarusian language for me and for my friends, and at the same time when I came back from school to home, my mother continued to teach me Belarusian language at home, and therefore I passed exactly Belarusian language when I entered to university. Therefore, I repeat one more time that in Belarus, teachers from Belarus teach and Belarusian language and Russian language in our school. Okay, next question. This question sounds like this: younger generation prefer to speak Belarusian and English compared to Russian language. You should know, I repeat one more time, that younger generation prefer to speak Russian language, exactly Russian language. Why? I don't know. I don't have only one answer to this question. It's a big issue, big question. I know that the younger generation is trying to keep up with times, and time flies, and as for my generation, I mean younger generation, we try to improve ourselves. We try to communicate with different people, with people from other countries, because I told you about it from my one of my last video, when I told you that older generation in my country, from Russia, Belarus and Ukraine, older generation were very distrustful, and they lived like I don't know, only with very complicated to explain to you this issue. I mean, yeah, older generation is very difficult. Oh my god. Younger generation like me, we try, we like to communicate with different people from other countries, and therefore we try to speak English, we try to learn and studying English, because we like it, we like talking with another people. As for English language, younger generation trying to keep up with times, and we really try to learn in English. And to regret that younger generation like me, we know Russian language better than Belarusian language. Yes, it's so sad. I repeat one more time that we are Belarusians, but we prefer to speak Russian. Understand? We know Russian language better than Belarusian. Why? I don't have answer this question. This is a big issue. This is a big question. I can't explain to you this issue in one video. But as for me, I can speak Russian. You see it and you hear it because I try to teach you Russian language for you. And at the same time, of course, I can speak Belarusian. Probably I will record video about it like I speak Belarusian. Probably if you wanna hear how I speak Belarusian, please write and comment about it. And I know that younger generation in my country try and prefer to speak Russian, not Belarusian language. Yes, it's sad. For example, for me, and for older generation, I know about it, that older generation say about it that, oh my god, why younger generation speak Russian language, not Belarusian language? We lose our culture, we lose our Belarusian culture and Belarusian language and blah blah blah. Yes, it's true, it's sad, and I can't influence on it. It doesn't depend on me. Well, I did my best to explain to you this issue, and I hope that I answered this question from my subscriber. And if you liked this video, if you liked my channel, please subscribe to my channel, put like, and bye bye.